I kind of fell in love with it that first visit and decided this is the place for me.
I mean, I thought it was like an easy choice.
I was born a Hawkeye. It's the only place I ever truly considered with my whole heart.
Iowa just has a fantastic program, very storied history.
Definitely a choice I do not regret.
Walking down the street, I see people that I know every day.
There's just something about the environment here that just really pushes you and helps you to achieve any goal possible.
Life isn't linear. There's always going to be ups and downs.
It's been hard. It's been difficult. You're here more than you're home.
There are people around me that also struggled in similar ways. Because of that, my friendships and relationships have gone stronger.
Mom and Dad, I love you. I want to thank you so much.
My parents, they moved homes. They worked so hard here. So I just have so much respect for them.
Just all the people who've supported me along the way.
My wife for picking up her life professionally and personally, and moving, 1,000 miles from home.
Thank you, Dr. Andrew Smelzer, for your constant support.
I would like to thank my wife, Laura, for supporting me through this.
This is over, but I know I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
I've wanted this for a long time. I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I did it.
You look great. Please be seated. Before we begin today's commencement ceremonies, I have two housekeeping matters to address. First and foremost, if you would be so kind, given the dignity of this event, if you have cell phones, and most of you do, would you please put them on silent? Thank you. And then secondly, this is the first time in 3 years that we've had the opportunity to come together as a college family to celebrate our graduates. With COVID, regrettably, classes of 20 and 21, those events were curtailed and/or virtual. So we're delighted to have all of you join us here today. As a consequence of us coming together, a positive consequence, at the end of the event, now we've got 88 of you to help remind me if I mess this up, but we're going to take a group photo. It'll be the first class photo that we've been able to take in 3 years. So we're going to do that on the stairs leading up from the first floor of Hampshire. So when I announce at the end that we're departing, please move to the stairs so that we can take a group photo. And I'll try to remember at the end to remind you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Don Latender. I am privileged to serve as the 9th Dean in the storied history of the University of Iowa College of Pharmacy. We began our educational process in 1885, the oldest public college of pharmacy west of the Mississippi. It is my distinct pleasure to offer a heartfelt welcome to President Wilson and other members of the platform, College of Pharmacy faculty and staff, loved ones and friends of the graduates, and most especially the graduating class of 2022. To each and every one of you, we extend sincere greetings and thanks for the honor of your presence. Today marks the college's 136th commencement. The graduates seated before me have completed a long and rigorous course of study. Speaking on behalf of the faculty, I can assure you that we are most confident these graduates are extremely well prepared for the challenges of healthcare delivery in the 21st century. This morning, we are gathered here to celebrate their achievements and bid them well on their impending journey. At this time, I would like to recognize the individuals joining me this morning on the platform. Starting on my far left, they are Associate Deans for Professional Education, Dr. Susan Voss and Mary Ray. The Doctor of Pharmacy program is delivered by faculty in the college and managed by the team in the Office of Professional Education. This office is led by 2 Associate Deans, who I just mentioned, Drs. Voss and Ray. Drs. Ray and Voss strive to ensure each student is prepared to succeed in a rapidly changing healthcare environment. I know the students find Deans Voss and Ray especially effective in their roles and appreciate the guidance and insight that they and members of their office provide throughout the course of their 4 years of study with us. Next, soon to be, Dr. Trey Van Hamert, class president, whom I'll introduce more formally later in the program. Following Trey are our Teachers of the Year. This is a very special distinction that the following members of the platform here get to sit up front and hood our students. Each year, the College of Pharmacy recognizes outstanding teachers selected by the students. The process begins by soliciting nominations and supporting comments from each of the classes. Teaching, discovery, and servant leadership are at the heart of our existence as professors. We are incredibly fortunate to have not only these honored individuals, but a superb faculty with us today and every day in the classrooms, laboratories, and patient care settings. Please stand as I name you and remain standing so that we can recognize all of our Teachers of the Year collectively. First, it is a distinct pleasure to recognize Dr. Erica Ernst, peer-nominated and peer-reviewed Collegiate Teacher of the Year. And next, our P2 through P4, that's second year, third year, fourth year, Class Teachers of the Year, Drs. Vern Duba, Jeffrey Reist, and Michael Farley. These highly dedicated faculty are our 2022 Teachers of the Year. Please join me in acknowledging the accomplishments and well-deserved recognition of these faculty. Next, Dr. Nancy Alvarez, today's distinguished commencement speaker, whom I'll introduce more formally later in the program. Regent Abby Crow, today's Board of Regents representative. Abby Crow, a student here at the University of Iowa, was appointed to the Board of Regents by Governor Kim Reynolds on April 16, 2021. She will serve a 6-year term. Abby is majoring in human physiology and minoring in biology, and with the goal of pursuing a career in the medical field after she receives her degree. I was kidding with her earlier that pharmacy is a pretty sexy area to pursue, so we're hoping one day that Abby finds her way into our college. She's also pursuing a certificate in leadership and is expected to graduate in May 2023 and then pursue graduate study thereafter. And lastly, Dr. Barbara Wilson, the University of Iowa's 22nd president. President Wilson will also be formally conferring degrees today, and she too will be recognized later in the program. One other dignitary that I'd like to recognize before we proceed. Ladies and gentlemen, our college is in a very unique situation in the United States of America in terms of its interface with its state pharmacy association. Without question, and please take my word for this, the Iowa Pharmacy Association is one of the leading pharmacy associations in the United States. They're always at the forefront of change. And our students have the opportunity to engage in IPA, Iowa Pharmacy Association, routinely. We have been very fortunate for decades to benefit from extraordinary leadership in our association. And certainly at present, this is no different. So today with us, we have the Chief Executive Officer of the Iowa Pharmacy Association, Dr. Kate Gaynor. Kate, I'd like to ask you to please stand so we could recognize you. Where are you, Kate? There you are, right here. Thank you. This lady has been with us as well. Her name is Kelly Neppel. She's a lecturer for the World Languages, Literatures, and Cultures Department here at the university. She's our sign language interpreter, as you can tell, and we very much appreciate her services. I can tell you that Kelly and I have stood side by side for many years, and we're delighted to have Kelly with us. So, Kelly, thank you so much. And now to the graduates. Daggone, you look good. I've been asked by the graduates to assure all the parents in attendance that your daughters and sons dressed this way each and every day when they came to class. Seriously, you look very, very professional. This year, and I don't know why we didn't do this sooner because we should have, we take pause and recognize first-generation graduates. I don't know why we didn't do this in the past because I'm a first-generation graduate, and I know how much that meant to my mom and dad and my grandparents the day that I graduated. It was a day that was filled with both joy and tears of joy throughout the course of the day, knowing that a member of the family had achieved something that no one on either side of the family had ever achieved before. I visited with several of our graduates who are first-geners. And last evening, Dr. Voss shared with those in attendance the special cords that the student graduates wear in recognition of being first-geners. I know that we have a goodly number of other healthcare professionals in the audience, and we'll get to you in a little bit, but I would like to ask those who are graduating and others of our faculty to please stand if you're a first-generation graduate. That's awesome. We need to do something more about recognizing first-geners in the future. We'll put more thought to that. We recognize that many of our graduates have loved ones who are healthcare professionals. And normally, I would be reminded of that because our daughter Allison, who's a nurse, my wife Louise, who's a nurse, would be seated right over here with a few of our grandchildren. Well, this past spring, our daughter took a brand new position as Chief Nursing Officer in Schenectady, New York, as part of the St. Peter's Health System. I marvel each and every day at the quality of care that's provided by a wide range of healthcare professionals. We work together as a team with one common mission, and that is to care for and hopefully cure disease. You would honor all of us here today, those who are healthcare professionals in the audience, those loved ones who are visiting here today. May I ask you to please, whatever your professional responsibilities are, those who are healthcare professionals, would you mind standing, please, so we could honor you? We are most grateful for your presence and the service that you provide to humankind. Before we introduce our speakers, I'd like to take this moment to acknowledge loved ones who are in the military and cannot be here today because of their service to our country. And Lord knows, with geopolitical events, it's imperative that these women and men provide the service that they are. Indeed, we enjoy many freedoms because of the sacrifices that these individuals make. Those present today who have served or are currently serving in the military, could you please stand and remain standing? Those who are in the military, either past or present, please stand. Might I ask all of you, please, to join me for a moment of silence as a gesture of thanks to those who have served or are currently serving our country. Thank you. It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce Dr. Trey Van Hamert, President of the class of 2022. Trey grew up in Muscatine, Iowa. He first received a bachelor's degree at the University of Iowa in microbiology before joining our College of Pharmacy class. In addition to serving as class president, Trey has been active in the Health Business Leadership Program, Honor Council, the Pharmacy Student Ambassador Network, the American College of Veterinary Pharmacists, and the National Community Pharmacists Association. This coming summer, Trey will begin residency training at Genesis Hospital in Davenport, Iowa. When I look at Trey, and I know he has loved ones out here, and I shared some of this with them last evening, he epitomizes the type of balanced student we are trying to nurture here in our College of Pharmacy. Academically driven, professionally engaged, and exemplary in demeanor. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Trey Van Hamert to the podium, where he will provide remarks representing the outstanding class of 2022. Trey?
Good morning. Family, friends, and fellow graduates. I am honored to be up here speaking on behalf of this graduating class. I would first like to thank the faculty and staff at the University of Iowa College of Pharmacy for guiding us along our journey. I also want to thank all family members and friends who are here supporting each graduating pharmacist. We could not have made it to this moment without your support. Thank you. 4 short years ago, with all of us sitting here during the white coat ceremony, Dean Latender asked our class, why pharmacy? A handful of brave individuals stood up and told their stories of why they chose to enter this profession. At the time, I was nervous that I would be chosen to speak and was relieved that I didn't have to speak in front of a large audience. Well, look how the tables have turned. There is a question which I believe all of us graduates have been asked. It usually happens when meeting new people, when they ask, "What do you do?" or "What are you studying?" To these questions, I respond that I'm in pharmacy school studying to be a pharmacist. They respond as if they're the first person to ever come up with this witty response. They say, "Oh, you're going to be a legal drug dealer." As a matter of fact, these people are correct. We are here because we study and we know drugs. And we're unique in the fact that we spend 4 years extra in school and go into 6 figures of debt for drugs, and our family and friends are proud of us for it. On a serious note, I truly am honored to be here. The many cords and stoles worn by the graduates indicate student organization involvement, academic achievement, and leadership. As we enter the sometimes scary world of healthcare, know this. Each graduate here will go on to become a valuable member of their healthcare team. You will all make a difference in your patients' lives, and the world will be better for it. After grinding through a tough 4 years, sacrificing weekends to study for tests, attending student organization meetings, serving on various committees, and working at 8 different rotation sites this past year, class of 2022, we did it. We can breathe now. Let us reflect on how much we have grown throughout our academic journey in pharmacy and how this will affect our future practice. When I reflect upon my journey, I believe that some impacts that I have made and will make won't require a pharmacy degree, such as showing compassion to those who are sick and afraid, treating everyone with empathy and respect, and always giving your best effort. I'm excited to see where we all end up. We will, of course, miss the people we've met, friends we've made, and little things, such as the walk to the pharmacy building, or just going to events just for the free food. As we go into our jobs, residencies, and fellowships, remember what we are always told. Pharmacy is a small world, and you're never too far away from someone you know. Congratulations, class of 2022, on all your achievements, and go Hawks.
I just said to Trey, pretty daggone good for a guy who wasn't supposed to be a public speaker. So well done, Trey, and wonderful words to your fellow classmates. At this moment in time, I would like to recognize the members of Trey's family. So when I call you by name, if you could please stand, and then we could recognize all of you collectively. Trey's grandparents, Carl and Bonnie. Where are Carl and Bonnie? There they are. Mother Nancy, Father Carter, and brothers Thomas and Tanner. Ladies and gentlemen, Trey's family. Dr. Nancy Alvarez is the Associate Dean of Academic and Professional Affairs at the University of Arizona, Phoenix campus. She's also Associate Professor of Practice in the Department of Pharmacy Practice and Science and Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at the College of Pharmacy at the University of Arizona. Previously, she was part of the founding leadership team and faculty at Chapman University School of Pharmacy, which is in Southern California, and held a variety of roles at Endo Pharmaceuticals, Hospice Pharmacia, which deals largely in end-of-life care, and Walgreens Company. Nancy served as the 162nd president of the American Pharmacists Association, as the national president of Phi Lambda Sigma Leadership Society, and as the grand vice president of Collegiate Affairs for Phi Delta Chi Fraternity. She is a fellow of the American Pharmacists Association, received its Gloria Nehemiah Franke Leadership Mentor Award in 2020, and the Linwood F. Tice Friend of Pharmacy, the American Academy of Student Pharmacists of APHA in 2021. Nancy has a strong interest in leadership development. She's a program director for the Pharmacy Leadership and Education Institute and serves on its board of directors. Other boards for which she is a member include the American Institute in the History of Pharmacy, the American Pharmacists Association Foundation, and the Society of Pain and Palliative Care Foundation. Those are the formal comments about Nancy. I want to take this moment to share with you a couple of other tidbits about why this extraordinary woman is our speaker here today. 7 years ago, this college began what we now call the Zeta Cooper Symposium, a symposium that honors women's leadership. But women's leadership is not in the title of the symposium. Rather, the way we approached that, and that was strategic, was that for the last 7 years, all of the speakers of the Zeta Cooper Symposium are women. That's our way of celebrating the extraordinary accomplishments of these individuals and reminding everyone that leadership is gender neutral. In the second year or third year of existence, Nancy was our keynote speaker. And since then, she's continued to serve on the Zeta Cooper Planning Committee. She's been deeply entrenched in our college, so although she's a faculty member at Arizona, she sure has been bleeding black and gold a lot the last 5 or 6 years. We are so smitten with Nancy and so appreciative of everything that she has done for our college that this October, during homecoming, we will recognize Nancy as an honorary graduate of our College of Pharmacy. We just think the world of Dr. Nancy Alvarez and are incredibly appreciative of her time and talents and contributions to our college. It is with a great deal of pride that I share with you and ask you to join me in welcoming this year's distinguished commencement speaker, Dr. Nancy Alvarez.
Well, they're going to have to make a different exit from my ego after that. Goodness, thank you so much. Well, greetings from the Valley of the Sun, home of the Phoenix Suns basketball. I'm elated to be here to take part in this momentous occasion in your lives and to share some thoughts with you. When I'm asked to speak, I experience a moment of excitement, followed by gratitude, and topped with a splash of dread. Oh gosh, whatever am I going to say? You never know what will resonate, people will hear. What I noticed this time was that dread represented a worry that I would be too verbose, as I find that I have much to say. I have titled these remarks, 30-Year Journey to the Center of the Pharmacy Universe, because it was 30 years ago on Sunday that I was sitting for my commencement ceremony at the University of Arizona. And today, I am here in Iowa, which is so much more than a flyover state in the American Midwest. Why? It is the center of the pharmacy universe, if you ask me. Let me share with you how I have come to form this belief, how I think it shows up. The simple answer is that the evidence is everywhere because of the hard work of Iowan pharmacists who have come before you. It shows up in the innovative, resilient pharmacy practices that have long provided community pharmacy services for Iowa cities and towns. It shows up in the work in which a University of Iowa graduate engages to characterize, monitor, and communicate national workforce data. It shows up in the effort to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in your college, something that continually evolves and advances. It shows up in the leadership role your state association has amongst peer organizations and developing individuals who go on to lead in other state associations. Tennessee is a recent example. It shows up in the national leadership of pharmacy organizations where Iowans have served on boards or as presidential officers of APHA and ASHP, amongst others. It shows up in the premier Zeta Cooper leadership program dedicated to cultivating the leader within you and in honor of the grand and glorious lady of our profession. And I am certain it will show up in each of you as you go out from the University of Iowa. You have worked hard to get to this point, pandemic aside, each taking different roads to the end of your program of study. How exactly did that happen? How is it that you started down a particular road leading you here today? Each of you has a personal story comprised of the decisions you faced, the challenges presented to and overcome by you along the way, and lessons learned. Why some of you may be unrecognizable to your families because of the growth you have experienced and the courage, confidence, and competence you exude today. So take a pause and make a memory of this moment. As Jimmy Fallon, host of The Tonight Show, says, "You're here. You made it." Well, indeed you have. I encourage you to be fully present as you will not pass through this time again. I want you to think about to whom you owe a debt of gratitude and what you appreciate about them. Identify what your accomplishment means to you and how your family is advancing in the world. Recognize truly that to whom much is given, much is expected, and how your arrival to this point in time positions you to make good on that expectation. As pharmacists, we are privileged and carry tremendous responsibility. And we need the right to exercise our professional judgment in the interests of patient and community health and well-being, and to be treated in a considerate, respectful, and professional manner by patients and other healthcare professionals, and supported by employers and supervisors, no matter where we choose to work. Your engagement in this profession is an expectation, and your dean, faculty, staff, preceptors, and Iowa pharmacy personnel everywhere have worked to instill this in you. So here are 5 ways you can deepen your professional engagement. Number 1, you can advocate at every turn. Advocate for your patients and health equity in your communities, and notice your biases and how you might deepen your cultural humility in order to care well for others. Fill in gaps in knowledge that exist in the public and reframe misperceptions. Take every opportunity to communicate the value of pharmacists in communities to optimize medication use, promote health and wellness, and serve on the healthcare team. A woman at the San Antonio airport who insisted on talking to me as I traveled back from the APHA annual meeting got more than a healthy dose of education about the value of pharmacists and our critical role to help her and her community, particularly during the pandemic. She had absolutely no idea, and now she does. You can see yourself as a pharmacist. That's point number 2. Not a community pharmacist or a hospital pharmacist or a clinical pharmacist. Simply a pharmacist who happens to practice in the community or a hospital, etc. Lift up colleagues who have chosen different professional pursuits than you and recognize that we all have unique and essential contributions. Point number 3, you can demonstrate care. See the human being on the other side of all of our efforts, whether you are delivering direct patient care or immersed in managing population health. A speaker I heard a few years ago shared his opinion about pharmacists, and what he said was that pharmacists are trusted and competent, but he wasn't always sure that we cared based on his personal experiences. No one ever questions whether nurses care. So let's consistently show that we care, because indeed we do. Point number 4, you can participate in professional activities. You can do this by joining pharmacy organizations and meeting people. Learning about the lived experiences of others and sharing of yourself can lead to mutual enrichment, no matter where you are along your career trajectory. You never know where this will lead. I am here today because years ago I sat down alone at a dinner table and I ended up sitting next to a man I did not know, Dean Latender. So when I received his call to invite me to this stage, I could not help but flash back to this time, this chance dinner encounter several years ago. My career has been enriched beyond measure because of the people I have met for support, connection, and belonging. This kind of career enrichment awaits you when you join pharmacy organizations. And point number 5, you can pick out a fabulous, comfortable pair of shoes. The titans of your state have worn big shoes as they have worked and shaped the Iowa pharmacy universe. How will you fill their shoes and begin to write your legacy, you might wonder? Well, you do not need to think about filling their shoes. Instead, you can think about selecting your own shoes in a style that suits you, and you can set them down next to Zeta Cooper, or Bob, Matt, and Marilyn Osterhaus, or Jean and Susan Lutz, or Steve Furman, or Tom Temple, or Randy McDonough, or Melissa Muir-Corrigan, or Jeannie Abrams, or Susan Voss, or Connie Connolly, or Dina Dillon, etc., etc., etc. There is no room for imposter syndrome here. You are educated, you are experienced, and you are ready for the next steps in your life. The late U.S. tennis player Arthur Ashe said, "Start where you are, use what you have, do what you can." President Theodore Roosevelt said, "We have too much to do to sit on the sidelines. We need to step out of the gray twilight and into the bright sunshine so that we can all see the dawn of a new day." Well, that day is here. Congratulations, colleagues. What I wish for you is a wildly satisfying career experience filled with joy, achievement, and a fair dose of challenge. I wish for you meaning and purpose, hopefulness, and friends for happiness at work. Start where you are, and don't forget to pick out that fabulous pair of shoes.
Dr. Alvarez, thanks for those words of inspiration. What a wonderful message to bestow upon the class of 2022. Thank you very, very much on behalf of the entire faculty, staff, and most especially our graduates. At this time, I'd like to now transition to the University of Iowa's 22nd president, Dr. Barbara Wilson. She joined the university on July 15th, this past summer, 2021. She earned her bachelor's degree in journalism and her master's degree and PhD in communication arts from the University of Wisconsin-Madison. Let's just say she's a Big Ten lady. She came to Iowa after most recently having served as the executive vice president for academic affairs of the University of Illinois system. Just for those of you who don't know, within Illinois, all of the various universities fit into one system. So she was a systems administrator, which is an enormous job. Prior to that, she served as head of the departments of communication, vice provost for academic affairs, executive vice provost for faculty and academic affairs, the Harry E. Preble Dean of the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, and interim chancellor of the University of Illinois, Champaign-Urbana. President Wilson was a member of the Illinois faculty at Urbana-Champaign for 21 years, Prior to that, she was a professor of communications at the University of California, Santa Barbara, and the University of Louisville. In 2008, she was elected as a fellow of the International Communication Association, which is a big deal. We are deeply honored to have President Wilson with us here this morning. Please join me in welcoming Iowa's 22nd president, Dr. Barbara Wilson, who will issue her charge to the graduates.
Thank you so much, Dean Latender. I am now celebrating my 10 months in this position, and I'm so honored to be here today. Thank you for the invitation. I want to thank you and all the faculty and staff here today for stewarding this class of 2022 through some challenging times and through some great opportunities. I'm so proud of all you've done to educate and support these students. And to Dr. Alvarez, thank you for recognizing that Iowa is the center of the universe. I love that. Oh my goodness, I'm going to carry that one forward, and I might quote you a few times. Class of 2022, we are so proud of you, and I just want to take a moment to say it's been a challenging time. We're grateful that you hung in there, that you've made it through a global pandemic, and you're on the other side to your four-year degree. We are really, really proud of you. And I want to just say for a moment, this is a little off script. I'd like you to stand up when I give you the cue here and look around the room, find the people that supported you. We talk about gratitude. Look at those people and give them a big round of applause for all they've done to support your excellence and getting to this point. So go ahead and stand up and find your family and clap for them. There you go. I knew we'd find some rowdy people in the back of the audience. Thank you so much. And the last thing I'd like to say is I want to add to the 5 pieces of advice from Dr. Alvarez, which were great. I'm going to add a 6th one, and that is everywhere you go, I want you to wear gold and black and be proud of your Hawkeye roots. So go Hawkeyes. Thank you.
President Wilson, I would now like to note that these candidates have completed all the requirements for the degree, Doctor of Pharmacy, and are recommended to you by the faculty of the College of Pharmacy for the conferring of their degrees. Graduates, would you please stand?
On recommendation of the faculty of the College of Pharmacy and by the authority vested in me by the Board of Regents, State of Iowa, I confer on each of you the degree Doctor of Pharmacy as qualified and designated.
Congratulations.
Woo!
Please be seated. Thank you, President Wilson. We're so grateful for your presence here today. And now we have the presentation of our graduates. I'd like to ask Associate Dean Voss to please proceed to the podium.
Good morning. It is now my honor to introduce the graduates of the class of 2022. Today, each student receives a hood. The graduation hood is a symbol of doctoral education and is the main way to identify the degrees held by graduates. The length and shape of the hood indicate the degree that is granted, and the lining displays the official colors of the university awarding the degree. The velvet trim indicates the field of study. The Doctor of Pharmacy hoods are olive green, recognizing the clinical Doctor of Pharmacy degree. The stars on the gown recognize academic achievement, and the cords worn by many of our graduates indicate selected achievements in academics, leadership, service, affiliation, and professional organization involvement. I will now ask the graduates to line up to my left, one row at a time, beginning with your class president, Trey, followed by Ali. And I will introduce each graduate to you. There is a professional photographer that will take photographs of each graduate. However, you're also invited to come forward to the front and take pictures of your own. All right, let's begin the ceremony. Dr. Trey Van Hamert. Dr. Ali Narugi. Dr. Lauren Reist. Dr. Kyla Jordan Peters. Dr. Marissa Lorraine Stewart. Dr. Annie Catherine Hoffman. Dr. Shelby Reed. Dr. Nicholas Shepard. Dr. Alan Erica Robles Ba. Dr. Delaney Brianne McCone. Dr. Ashley Victoria Duda. Dr. Jacob Robert Fitzpatrick. Dr. Austin J. Dolmeyer. Dr. Shannon Rosemary Powers. Dr. Jake Van Ort. Dr. Tyler John Wimpin. Dr. Stephen Trey. Dr. Joshua Brasi. Dr. Colton McConnell. Dr. Micah Heiner. Dr. Brendan Thomas Shriver. Dr. Jenna Marie Ringsdorf. Dr. Sarah Nashed. Dr. Cassidy Ann Lawler. Dr. V. Nguyen. Dr. Hua Vong. Dr. Kaylee Michelle Batterson. Dr. Caitlin Alexandria Quinn. Dr. Gisela Marie Johnson Munoz. Dr. Alexander Raymond Hall. Dr. Jacob Robert Johnson. Dr. Riley Thomas Moore. Dr. Mason Page Roberts. Dr. James Delbert Bullard. Dr. Kalika Johan Nardi. Dr. Julia Marie Christ. Dr. Sarah Marie Sinkupalmi. Dr. Morgan Kimball. Dr. Sarah Ramirez. Dr. Alexis Klaus. Dr. Kayla Christine Wilson. Dr. Tiffany Lee. Dr. Fatima Salih Atfif. Dr. Beatrice Kariuki. Dr. Jessica Denise McCants. Dr. Uruvi Bakhta. Dr. Paige Lee. Dr. Sarah Yasser El Hatab. Dr. Salma Elbdahraman. Dr. Sunny Hong. Dr. Elena Hoffman. Dr. Hao Fu. Dr. Liangping Yu. Dr. Marisol Garcia. Dr. Erica Bryn Schupp. Dr. Ann Washika Mwangi. Dr. Hasna Harabi. Dr. Amir Saba. Dr. Annalisa Maxine Aioli. Dr. Ellen Brianne Peters. Dr. Megan Lee Lake. Dr. Ashley Ann Perlwitz. Dr. Emma Frances Johnson. Dr. Samuel August Shower. Dr. Damian P. Liss. Dr. Alexander Goss. Dr. Reed Peliquin. Dr. Kyla Marie Dickey. Dr. Chelsea Nguyen. Dr. Caroline Hartman. Dr. Tessa Marie Kaufman. Dr. Reagan Menke. Dr. Catherine Rose Kenny. Dr. Dalton Charles Swift. Dr. Marissa K. Rupalo. Dr. Emma Sue Peel. Dr. Ben Jeffrey Fox. Dr. Sarah Nezervik. Dr. Michelle Ivana Dobrinsky. Dr. Alexandra Marie Curran. Dr. Sydney Danielle Novak. Dr. Spencer Michael Monroe. Dr. Dylan Alexander Lloyd. Dr. Walt Wang. Dr. Fatima Kamara. Dr. Chi Stella Nessa.
Just got to wait a moment while we finish up photographs in the back. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the graduating class of 2022. Obviously, today is a very special day. It marks the culmination of years of effort on the part of many, and it represents the beginning of a new journey into healthcare in which each of these graduates will undoubtedly leave a profound mark upon all of whom they serve in humankind. I would like to take a moment to recognize a very special group of individuals. For the past 4 years, the men and women seated behind me who have given so much to enrich the lives of our graduates, intellectually, emotionally, professionally, and I must add, depending upon the subject matter and your level of preparation at exam time, spiritually. Frankly, for a secular institution, I've witnessed a whole lot of praying at times. We are indeed blessed to have a truly outstanding faculty and professional staff. Our faculty, through their research, they are in constant quest of the next critical step in finding new drugs or better ways to deliver health care. And through their scholarship of teaching, they are always striving to impart knowledge, stimulate critical thinking, and hone students' problem-solving abilities. Theirs is truly a labor of love. Faculty, might I ask you please to stand. Ladies and gentlemen, I ask you join me in recognizing these very fine men and women for all they have done for these graduates. Thank you. I believe that the events of the past 2 days were simply outstanding and have gone on without a hitch because of our staff. These men and women toil behind the scenes with very little recognition, and they do it with grace and charm, and I might add, just a truly wonderful measure of panache. All of what you do behind the scenes in helping to bring a healthy measure of professionalism that ultimately makes our program so special and the envy of others is all due to you. All the planning and attention to detail are evident in so many ways, and most especially in the quality of our functions. I feel very privileged, as you know, to serve as dean of such a capable, considerate, and caring staff as integral members of our College of Pharmacy family. Members of our staff who are here, and believe me, there are many who can't be here because they're back at the college continuing to do the work that they need to do. But for those staff who are here, might I ask you please to stand so we could recognize you. Staff? Thank you. I know that President Wilson acknowledged family before, but I'd like to do once again. After all, parents, grandparents, spouses, other family members, and friends of the graduates, you've done in large measure, you've done this journey together. Your personal, moral, and of course financial support has been critical for these graduates who have achieved this important milestones in their lives today. I'd like to ask, if you're able, I'd like to ask the parents, grandparents, spouses, and partners of our graduates to please stand. Graduates, let's acknowledge your loved ones here. On behalf of all the graduates, we extend our heartfelt appreciation for all that you have done in the course of their 4-year journey in helping them celebrate today's milestone. Professionalism. Big surprise, huh? Yes, we've come full circle since we first spoke about professionalism at the white coat ceremony. And I had to invoke it at least one more time. What you choose to profess, and how you exercise all of the privileges that will be bestowed upon you will be decided in the days to come. Pharmacist. Just saying the word connotes much in today's society. Responsibility, respect, integrity, trust, caring, and compassion are among the values that quickly come to my mind. Henceforth, you will be called pharmacist for several reasons. First and foremost, you have earned the distinction that the title carries through years of study and hard work. And make no mistake about it, the foundation you laid from the time you were in kindergarten all the way to today, all of those have been building blocks to where you're seated today. Bear in mind, however, that this is a beginning point, not an end point. You will always be required to continue to learn and hone your skills, for a true healthcare professional provider's time as a student never ends. Second, you're about to enter into a very special covenant with the public. That covenant will willingly place lives in your hands, and in return, you will be obligated to draw upon all of your special knowledge and skills to help ensure the health and safety of those for whom you have been entrusted to serve. In that regard, I draw upon the words of Michelangelo, who once said, "The greatest danger for most of us lies not in setting our aim too high and falling short, but in setting our aim too low and achieving our mark." I urge you always to aim high. Those we serve deserve our very, very best. And third, you'll become, as has been articulated several times here today, you'll become a member of a very select community. This community, called the profession of pharmacy, is one built upon trust, discipline, integrity, collaboration, caring, and a firm commitment to health promotion and disease prevention. Our profession demands these things, and our patients have come to expect nothing less. For these reasons and so many more, you will have the unique privilege of forever bearing the title pharmacist. I feel especially proud and privileged. You've had a heck of a journey these last 4 years with COVID and all of the challenges you've faced. My heart goes out to each and every one of you. You're so, so deserving of this recognition. Congratulations. I remembered. We're going to conclude here in just a moment, but when we do, I'm going to ask all of you to depart first, and then immediately please go to the stairs where we'll take a group photo. That would be a wonderful, wonderful thing after a 3-year hiatus. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the 136th commencement of the University of Iowa College of Pharmacy. I ask, please, that all attendees remain seated during the recessional. Once all of the graduates have exited, then you may depart at your convenience. Thank you, and go Hawks!